Welcome to my channel, Official History of Coins Worth, a life-changing amount of money hidden in the back of an old drawer, or perhaps sitting in a jar of spare change on your dresser right now. First up, let's talk about the coin in question, a piece of Canadian history from 1998. This is a 1-cent coin, often called a penny, featuring the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the front and the iconic maple leaf twig on the back. It was made at the Royal Canadian Mint, primarily in Ottawa, with a massive production run of nearly 1 billion pieces for general circulation. You could have used it to buy a piece of candy or make exact change at a store. It represents the end of an era in a way, part of the last decade of the penny as we knew it in Canada, before the currency was phased out in 2012. But here's where the story takes a turn, because while most of these coins are just common pocket change, a select few are something else entirely. The real value of a 1998 Canadian penny isn't in its face value, but in the tiny details that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. The key to unlocking its potential lies in understanding the varieties. You see, the Royal Canadian Mint didn't just strike coins for your pocket. They also created special versions for collectors. One such rarity from 1998 is the silver penny, struck to commemorate the 90th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Mint. Instead of the usual copper-plated zinc, this special coin is made of solid silver, with only 25,000 of them ever produced. Imagine holding a coin that looks like a penny but feels heavier, shines brighter, and contains precious metal. That is a true collector's gem. This silver version immediately transforms the coin from a piece of spent currency into a work of art. It comes from a special year set, meaning it was never meant to be spent, only cherished. Because of its silver content and incredibly low mintage compared to the billion circulation coins, its value skyrockets. While the exact price can vary based on condition and the market, a 1998 silver cent is worth exponentially more than 1 cent, with its value tied to both its silver weight and its desirability among collectors. This is the kind of discovery that makes your heart skip a beat. But wait, the plot thickens even for the regular, copper-colored pennies you might find. Even among those, there are hidden treasures. The value of a standard 1998 penny can climb from its 15-cent base price if it is in pristine, uncirculated condition. Yet, the real jackpot comes from errors. Collectors go wild for mistakes, and the 1998 penny has a famous one known as the Hanging 8. On these coins, part of the number 8 in the date looks like it is dangling or not properly formed, a subtle but highly sought-after flaw. This Hanging 8 variety turns a common penny into a rare bird. Because it's an error, it escaped the normal quality control, making it a legitimate rarity. Collectors are willing to pay a significant premium for these oddities. We've seen certified examples of these error coins, graded an impressive MS65RD by professional services, sell at auction for real money. This proves that even a humble penny, if it has the right story, can command a price far beyond its humble origins. So what is the maximum value we're talking about? How much could you potentially sell one of these for? The pinnacle of value for a 1998 Canadian cent is undoubtedly the silver strike, especially if it's in perfect, certified condition. We have to think about the maximum, the absolute peak price that a collector might pay. Given the mintage of only 25,000 and the fact it's 92.5% sterling silver, a top-graded example in its original packaging could realistically be valued at several $100s. This is the life-changing find for a coin collector, a stunning piece of minting history. For the error coins, the Hanging 8 variety, the value is also impressive. When you see a coin that has been certified and graded by a top company like CCCS as MS65RD, it confirms its superior quality and authenticity. A trio of coins including 2 of these error pennies sold at auction, and individual high-grade examples can easily fetch prices in a range of $100 to $200 or more, depending on the demand and eye appeal. This turns a simple mistake at the mint into a small windfall for the lucky owner who spots it. Now, let's talk about those nearly 1 billion regular 1998 pennies out there. The vast majority are exactly what they seem. Common coins worth their weight in conversation, maybe 15 to 25 cents to a collector who just needs one for their album. They are a fantastic piece of history to hold and appreciate. A reminder of a time when Canada used the penny for everyday trade. They are valuable as learning tools and as historical artifacts, but not in a monetary sense. But don't let that fact discourage you. The message here is one of hope and excitement. The key takeaway is that you must look closely at every old coin you come across. That 1998 penny in your pocket could be the common variety, or it could be a rare silver edition or a hanging 8 error. The difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth hundreds of dollars is a tiny detail, a flash of silver on the edge, or a peculiarity in the date. This is why the world of coin collecting is so thrilling. It turns every pocketful of change into a potential treasure hunt. So, I want you to go on an adventure right now. Grab that jar of coins, look through your old wallet, or check the ashtray of your car. Find that 1998 penny and examine it like a detective. Look at its color, check the date for errors, and see if it feels different. You never know what you might uncover. And if you do find something interesting, or if you have other old coins you're curious about, let me know in the comments below. I love hearing about your discoveries and can help point you in the right direction to find out more about what you've got. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden treasure stories, because the next fortune could be hiding in plain sight, right in the palm of your hand. Happy hunting! Next coin, let's talk about the 1999 Canadian 1 cent coin. You probably have hundreds of them sitting in jars, tucked under sofa cushions, or gathering dust in your childhood bedroom. You might think they're worthless, especially since Canada stopped distributing them back in 2013. But what if I told you that a single penny from 1999 could be worth more than $100? What if I told you that the coin you're about to throw into a Coinstar machine could pay for your dinner tonight? That's exactly what we're going to uncover today. We're diving deep into the 1999 Canadian penny, exploring its history, its current value, and its explosive potential for the future. This isn't just another coin video. This is your guide to finding treasure in plain sight. The 1999 Canadian 1 cent coin represents a fascinating moment in the history of Canadian currency. To understand its value, you first need to understand what you're actually holding. The standard 1999 penny features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, designed by the talented artist Dora de Pedery-Hunt. She was the first Canadian-born woman to design a portrait of the Queen for Canadian coinage, which gives this coin a touch of artistic prestige right from the start. On the reverse, you'll find a classic design by George Edward Kruger, featuring 2 maple leaves on a single twig, a design that has become synonymous with Canadian identity. This is the penny that Canadians grew up with, the one we used to buy candy with, the one we tossed into fountains for good luck. But here's where things get interesting from a collector's perspective. The year 1999 was a transitional period for the Royal Canadian Mint. They were experimenting with different metals to save money on production costs. The composition of a 1999 penny is copper-plated zinc, and it weighs in at exactly 2.25 grams with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. It's non-magnetic, which is an important detail we'll come back to later. The edge is smooth, and it features a metal alignment, meaning both sides face the same direction when you flip it vertically. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's just a normal penny. And you'd be right, for the most part. The magic doesn't lie in the standard issue. The magic lies in the mistakes. The real money in coin collecting almost always comes from errors and varieties, and the 1999 Canadian penny has a doozy. I'm talking about the famous double 999 variety. On some 1999 pennies, due to a die error at the mint, the date shows a doubling effect on the numbers, particularly the 9s. It looks like the numbers are slightly shadowed or etched twice. This isn't something you'll notice at first glance, but when you pull out a magnifying glass, the truth is revealed. And the truth, my friends, is where the money is hiding. This is the difference between spending that penny and selling it for a premium. This is the difference between being someone who ignores their change and someone who cashes in. So, what is this coin worth right now, today in the current market? Let's start with the standard, everyday 1999 penny that has been through circulation. If your coin is worn, scratched, and dull, it's probably only worth its face value, maybe a few cents if you find a really generous buyer. Online coin databases like ucoin.net list the standard circulated value at around 12 cents US, which is about 15 or 16 cents Canadian. But that's for a coin in decent shape. However, when you move into the world of mint state coins, coins that have never been used and have been preserved in perfect condition, the numbers start to climb. According to the price guide from Coins in Canada, a standard 1999 penny graded at MS 65, which is a high grade for a coin that's over 20 years old, can be worth around $9.10 in British pounds, which translates to roughly $15 or $16 Canadian dollars. At MS 66, the value jumps to about $18.70 pounds, or around $32 Canadian dollars. And at the top of the standard range, at MS 67, we're looking at $35.50 pounds, which is over $60 Canadian dollars. That's not bad for a penny, is it? Now, buckle up because this is where the numbers get truly exciting. Remember that double $9.99 variety I mentioned? That's the golden ticket. For the double $9.99 error in mint state condition, the values absolutely skyrocket. At MS 63, a double $9.99 penny is already worth more than a standard penny at MS 65, coming in at around $1.60 pounds, or about $2.80 Canadian dollars. But that's just the beginning. At MS 64, we're looking at $4.50 pounds, or roughly $8 Canadian dollars. At MS 65, the value jumps to $16.60 pounds, which is around $29 Canadian dollars. But the king of the hill, the absolute monster of this series, is the double $9.99 at MS 67. The price guide lists this coin at a staggering $53.60 pounds. Do you understand what that means? That is over $95 Canadian dollars. For a single penny, a coin that you could have in your pocket right now could be worth nearly $100. And that's just the listed price. At auction, with the right buyers, that number could go even higher. Let me put this in perspective for you. Imagine walking into a bank with a roll of pennies. You'd be lucky to get a couple of dollar coins in return. But if you find one of these double $9.99 pennies in pristine condition, you could sell it for nearly 100 times its face value. That's not just found money. That's a return on investment that Wall Street traders can only dream of. And the best part? Your initial investment was zero. You probably got it in change at a gas station or found it in a jar your grandmother gave you. This is the democratization of treasure hunting. You don't need a metal detector. You don't need to travel to a deserted island. You just need good light and a keen eye. But what about the future? Can the value of these coins go higher? The answer is a resounding yes, and I'll tell you why. First, consider the historical context. The Canadian penny is dead. It was officially withdrawn from circulation in 2013, and the last one was minted in May of 2012. The Royal Canadian Mint no longer produces them, and they're slowly being removed from circulation and melted down. Basic economics tells us that when supply decreases and demand remains constant or increases, prices go up. Every year, more of these 1999 pennies are lost, damaged, or destroyed. The population of high-grade mint state coins shrinks with each passing year. Your MS 67 double $9.99 is not just a coin. It's a dwindling asset. Furthermore, there's the nostalgia factor. Kids who grew up with the 1999 penny are now adults with disposable income. They're starting to collect the coins of their youth. This is a powerful demographic force in the collecting world. As these collectors enter the market, they drive up demand for coins like the 1999 penny. They want the coins they remember using as children, and they want them in the best possible condition. This nostalgia bidding can push prices to levels that seem absurd today, but will be commonplace tomorrow. The 1999 penny, especially the era varieties, is perfectly positioned to benefit from this wave of collecting interest. You also have to consider the melt value argument. While the 1999 penny is made of zinc and copper plating, older pennies were almost pure copper. A collector named Todd Sandom from Colonial Acres Coins mentioned in a recent interview that copper prices are climbing, and some pre-1997 pennies are actually worth melting down for their metal content, about 3 cents worth of copper. This creates a rising tide that lifts all ships. When people start hoarding and melting older dates, the supply of all older pennies tightens, making well-preserved examples of any date from that era more desirable. The 1999 penny sits right on the cusp of this metal value shift, making it a key date for collectors trying to complete sets. Another factor that will drive future value is the increasing sophistication of era coin collecting. The 9999 is a relatively well-known variety now, but as more people learn about it, more people will want it. It's a visible, dramatic error that is easy to understand and verify. These are the kinds of coins that attract new collectors to the hobby. They see that a simple mistake at the mint can create value, and they get hooked. This influx of new collectors, all hunting for the same few error coins, will inevitably push prices higher. The MS 679999 that is worth $95 today could easily be worth $200 or $300 within the next decade. Second coin, the coin in your pocket, the one you might flick aside without a second thought, could be a hidden treasure. We are talking about the most valuable 2007 Canadian 1-cent coin. And trust me, its story is far more exciting than its modest face value suggests. You might be asking yourself, how can a penny be valuable? It's a question that sparks the imagination of collectors and casual observers alike. Today, we are going to dive deep into the fascinating world of numismatics to uncover the secrets of this particular coin, exploring its history, its unique varieties, and the astonishing price it can command. So, sit back and let's embark on a journey to discover why a simple 2007 penny could be the most lucrative small change you never knew you had. First, let's set the stage by understanding the history and context in which this coin was born. The 2007 Canadian cent is part of a long and storied lineage of 1-cent pieces in Canada, a lineage that stretches back to 1858. For decades, the penny was a workhorse of Canadian commerce, used in countless daily transactions. However, by 2007, the penny was already living on borrowed time. The Royal Canadian Mint and the Canadian government were acutely aware of the coin's diminishing purchasing power and the rising cost of its production. In fact, a 2007 Royal Canadian Mint survey found that a significant portion of the public and retailers were in favor of abolishing it altogether. It was estimated that there were around 20 billion pennies in circulation, with about 600 of them for every single Canadian, many simply sitting idle in jars and piggy banks. This was the environment in which our coin was minted, a period of transition and uncertainty for the humble cent. The story of the 2007 penny is not just one story, but two. This is the crucial detail that every treasure hunter needs to know. In 2007, the Royal Canadian Mint produced two distinct types of 1-cent coins, and they are as different as night and day in terms of their value. The vast majority of the 1-cent coins minted that year were made of copper-plated steel. With a massive mintage of over 938 million, these magnetic pennies are incredibly common. If you find a 2007 penny and it sticks to a magnet, you have what is known as the magnetic variety. While these coins are a neat piece of history, their value in circulated condition is essentially still just 1 cent. Even in pristine, uncirculated condition, a magnetic 2007 penny might only be worth a few dollars at best. So, if you test your penny and it sticks, its value is low in the grand scheme of collectible coins, but don't get disheartened, because the real prize is the one that doesn't stick. This brings us to the star of our show, the 2007 non-magnetic Canadian cent. This is the coin that drives collectors wild. Unlike its steel counterpart, this penny was struck on a planchet made of copper-plated zinc. The Royal Canadian Mint produced only a fraction of these compared to the magnetic version, with a mintage of just 9.6 million. To put that in perspective, for every one non-magnetic penny, there were nearly 100 magnetic ones produced. This scarcity is the fundamental reason for its value. When you find a 2007 penny that a magnet refuses to pick up, your heart should skip a beat, because you have just found a key date in modern Canadian numismatics. The value of this coin isn't just high. For a modern penny, it can be astronomical. So, what is the current value of this elusive, non-magnetic treasure, and how many people want to buy it? The demand for this coin is incredibly high among collectors, who affectionately call it the 2007 non-mag. They actively search for it in bank rolls, estate sales, and online auctions. But the real magic happens when a coin is in exceptional condition. The value of a standard, circulated non-magnetic 2007 penny can range from a few dollars to perhaps $10 or $20. However, we are here to talk about the maximum prize, the holy grail for this specific coin. A 2010 auction result perfectly illustrates its potential. A 2007 1-cent coin, graded by the Independent Coin Certification Service, ICCS, as MS66, which stand for Mint State 66, meaning it is in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, sold for a staggering 175 Canadian dollars. Remember, this was in 2010, and the market for high-grade modern coins has only grown stronger since then. This price reflects the coin's rarity and the incredible demand from collectors who want the finest example for their collections. But wait, the value doesn't stop there. According to the most recent pricing guides, the potential value climbs even higher as the grade increases. For the non-magnetic variety, a coin graded MS 65, which is a very high grade, can be worth around $11.60, but that jumps significantly for the next tier. At MS 66, the value is estimated at around $27.70, and for a coin at MS 67, a grade that signifies an almost flawless coin, the value skyrockets to an estimated $55.90. However, it is crucial to remember that these are estimates, and at public auction, with multiple passionate bidders, the final price can far exceed these figures. The $175 sale from 2010 is a testament to that auction fever, proving that for the right coin in the right condition, the maximum price can be incredibly high, turning a simple cent into a multi-$100 prize.